Wow. Who would have predicted that was going to happen? Sean Strickland came through and proved that he is exactly who he says he is. The man went over to Australia and put on a masterful performance. Going into this fight, there weren't many people that were giving him much of a chance. And the people that were giving him a path to victory frequently mentioned that he was going to need to work in some wrestling. That he'd even have to figure out a way to grapple with the champ because striking with him was a fool's game. Everybody knew that Israel Adesanya was the more complete striker. Everybody knew that he was the far more polished and accomplished striker. That was the easy analysis, right? It was going to be that Izzy was going to be able to go out there and he was going to be able to land early and often. He was going to be able to use those kicks and tear up the legs. He was going to be able to freeze Strickland with the feints. He was really going to be able to get to work, and he was going to be able to use his length. He was going to be able to use his superior footwork to turn Strickland, right? Strickland's a guy that stands straight up, doesn't use much lateral movement, keeps his head on the center line. At the end of the day, all that analysis got completely turned upside down. Man, just take it, package it up, throw it right out the window. I'll tell you what, some of the first things I noticed when this fight kicked off were Strickland's pressure and his defense. Now, look, he's always been known for walking guys down, but I felt like tonight, man, he was just into a little bit extra Terminator mode. I mean, he was just coming forward, applying relentless pressure. From the opening bell, he almost never took a step backwards. Izzy was on his back foot all night, right? Just constantly having to move and then stop and shoot. And Strickland used a relatively basic defense, but the thing about it was just on point. It was just picture perfect. When Izzy goes out, he goes low, he throws a kick. Sean checks it or steps back. When Izzy throws straight punches, he's either deliberately catching the shots or he's clogging up the lanes with his hands, causing Adesanya to miss. And when Izzy would come over the top with a right hand, Sean's leaning back, hiding behind that shoulder. At the end of the day, it's not very complicated, but that's because it didn't need to be. He executed to perfection. Just amazing stuff out there. There were so many times in this fight when Izzy would stop and shoot and just land nothing. Sean looked like he was able to see everything coming. Great defensive performance. And then from there, he was really able to get his timing. And we saw the first glimpse of that late in the first round. He steps in behind a standard 1-2. And this sequence reminds me exactly of what we saw in Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman, the rematch, right? Jorge thought Usman was just going to throw a jab, tried to catch him with a check left hook, and when you do that, you leave your head right on the center line. You have to stay right in the pocket if you're going to land that check hook, and both Izzy and Jorge didn't think that there was going to be a right hand coming behind it, didn't hide their heads. They were just looking to land that counter left hook, and you could tell that neither man expected what was coming, and that was a right hand right down the pipe. Both of them got floored. Difference is, Sean jumps all over Izzy. Looks like he's about to finish him, but Adesanya was able to get up, man. He was able to remain strong. He was able to withstand that storm, finishes out the round. Now, look, I only gave one round to Israel Adesanya this fight. I agreed with the judges, 49-46 all the way around. Ironically enough, that round was the second round. After he gets dropped late in the first, he comes up, and he's able to just pick and poke from the most part from the outside. Sean really wasn't on the gas pedal, really wasn't doing too much. Izzy kind of took advantage of it, right? Wasn't anything special, no real memorable shots. And Izzy comes away with it. And the advice in between rounds in the corner of Sean Strickland was great. His corner told him, look, you're waiting too much. You're letting this guy snake charm you. And that's easy to do because Israel Adesanya has, such good offense from the outside. And if you can find yourself taking pictures, you can find yourself looking too much, you can find yourself not doing enough. And before you know it, those 5 minutes are up and you just lost the round, even though nothing really convincingly happened. So Sean Strickland goes out, third round, steps on the gas pedal a little bit, right? Just a little bit more, not too much. He was able to land a few big shots, but it was enough to win the round. So now he's up 2-1 after the third. And after the third round, his coach tells him again, listen, we did not come out here to lose a boring fight. We did not come all the way over here to lose a decision. You need to get after this guy. We can win this fight. And rounds 4 and 5 is when we saw Sean Strickland step on the gas pedal and really seal the deal and come home with this, man. He was coming forward. He's applying more pressure, and as these fights go on, the fights begin to take place at a little bit closer of a distance. And that man Strickland was just able to land more, man. He was countering with hard shots almost everything Izzy was throwing. He's able to walk forward. He's getting into range more often. He's landing his own lead right hands. He's landing hard 1-2s. Strong way to finish up this fight, man. Up to and including the last few seconds of the fight, he was out there just going bananas, talking crazy, yelling at Izzy from across the ring, just doing everything he can, just fighting just fighting in just madman mode. That's who that's who Sean Strickland is. It's not a gimmick. It's not fake. The man is who he says he is. And right now, he's the new middleweight champion of the world. He went out there and put on a phenomenal performance. The only question after this is what do we get next, right? We got Dana White saying he's all for the rematch. We got Israel Adesanya only talking for about 45 seconds at the post-fight, giving us no indication of what's next. We've got Adesanya's coach saying he'd be willing to take the fight next week. It was interesting, he's like, there just was no cohesion in the corner. We just couldn't get on the same page. Sean Strickland, all credit to him, was doing him so much, but we believe that this is a fight that we can win with just a few minor adjustments. I don't know, Daniel Cormier brought up an interesting point. He said, look, Israel Adesanya has been fighting nonstop for a long time now. He needs to take a break. He needs to take a little bit of time off, gather himself, become recuperated, gain a little bit of a fresh outlook, and then come back. That's when we're going to see the best one. Sean Strickland, man, it couldn't matter less. He couldn't care less about who's next. Line him up. I'm going to fight him. Doesn't matter whether we're talking about Israel Adesanya in a rematch, whether we're talking about Dricus, whether we're talking about, who knows, Cannonier or something. It makes no difference to that man. And when he says it, I believe him. I really, truly do. So my hat's off to the man. I wasn't one of the people who thought he could pull this off. I thought Israel Adesanya was going to be able to come away with the precision striking. Sean Strickland was just going to be there and be available to be hit too much. That wasn't the case at all. So awesome performance. The new champ walks away with the belt. What did you guys think of this performance? And what do you think is going to be next? Let me know.